Welcome to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast, where we hear stories from fellow seamstresses just like you. We're able to share their success stories. We learn from wedding industry pros for the best business tips, and we get to hear from fellow sewists and crafters to hopefully inspire our creativity and our love for sewing. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a bridal seamstress, I'd also like to invite you to check out our Bridal Seamstress business membership. We have a community of women that can testify to the power of genuine connection, friendship, vulnerability, the power of our six-figure seamstress method, and a genuine connection found in a business mentorship like this. All right, let's dive into the episode. Hey friends, welcome back to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast. I am really excited for today's episode and today's topic because I need somebody else who has a lot more wisdom with SEO than me, okay, to be our guest. So we're joined today by Brian Lawrence. And if you have joined any type of wedding conference or online summit, Brian's name just comes up. He's just been around in the wedding scene. He also is the producer of the Inclusive Wedding Summit. So if you've been part of that, you'll see his name as well. And he's here to give us some insider tips, particularly on SEO and using AI with SEO. And I was telling Brian before we hit record that this request comes up pretty often for seamstresses. I think particularly this year, because what we're seeing, I'm sure you're seeing it too, Brian, in other areas of the wedding industry, that couples and brides are submitting inquiries. They want price estimates. They're shopping around, price comparing, and it's not quite as easy to book clients as it has been in the past. So what we want to do as seamstresses is boost our credibility online, boost our SEO so brides can find us easier. And that's where you come in to tell us how to get this ball rolling a little faster.
Sure. So I have a question as far as the typical most of the members work from home or have a physical location.
As far as the members of my membership, probably 60, well, maybe 70-30 have storefronts compared to sewing from home, maybe 60-40. But as far as listeners, I'm not sure I don't know the percentage from our listener base.
I understand, the importance of the bridal wedding store funnel. I think there needs to be a certain amount of creativity in coming up in different searches that would bring a bride to notice, oh, I'm looking for a seamstress also. And also provide content that has value to be read about, having to do with the importance of how to care for your garments and different things that you do that posture a particular seamstress in a particular area as an expert. One of the things now with SEO and AI is that it's not as much about having like keywords, about being known as an expert and an authority on what you do. And a lot of that has to do with content. A lot of that has to do with where you're seen outside of your website. Say you're featured, like if you have a relationship with a bridal shop and you could ask them, can I submit an article about the importance of all the different things that you have to factor in when altering your dress, that then provides like a link, to the website. The more granular that you can have on your website, the more different types of pages of how to categorize, like it isn't all just one dress. There may be a different approach depending on the different type of dress, either having blog posts or landing pages that talk about all the different types of alterations that are involved. All of those things are really important. It's not just having like the equivalent of an online brochure where it's saying, okay, we're a seamstress, we're reasonably priced, we're talented, well, maybe here's a couple of testimonials. It's a lot more than that. It's very, very, very nuanced.
I feel like a lot of listeners, that's essentially what their website is. It's a brochure of here's where we're located, here's who we serve, here are a couple pictures of happy clients, and here's how to contact us. So when you say nuanced, what can we add to the website that goes beyond that brochure overview?
It's actually talking about whether it could be videos, YouTube videos, or blog posts that help educate. It's like it isn't just pinning the dress and putting it on a sewing machine. There's a lot more to it. it's almost like you have to really think about what type of content could you have that speaks to the type of work that you do that can't easily be copied and pasted onto a competitor's website and it would apply to them. That's what I'm talking about being nuanced. Now, how much of a variability, how intricate it could get, I'm not positioned to weigh in on that specifically. It would be for your experts, seamstresses, to figure out, like, what are the things, like almost reverse engineer, what are the things that come up in a conversation? What are the things that make someone want to hire you, that you explain, kind of elaborate on those things, like come up with the pain points and address them and honor them and be convincing and calming about that we're going to make this a really great experience.
Yeah, it's almost like starting with an FAQ page or like starting with the frequently asked questions and then kind of working your way outside of that.
It's a really good way of framing it, is like come up with all of the FAQs that could possibly happen and then think about how you could lace that in to the fabric of your marketing.
A lot of listeners, when they're thinking about developing a website or putting their information, it's very much about them and like, okay, I want to make sure my audience knows this about me, and it becomes seamstress centric when we're thinking about talking about ourselves on our website and just having it be all about us and our own information. We're missing more information that clients would need about their own experience. And when we do the same work day in, day out, it's like we forget about what people feel nervous about, or they have no idea about timelines or pricing or whatever. So I feel like thinking more about the client's needs, starting with those questions that they may have and working backwards would really help. I'm interested because you said that SEO is not so much about keywords anymore. And I was like, what? Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, it also is how people search. People are more asking questions than just typing in keywords. They're saying, where could I find a really good seamstress near me, as opposed to seamstresses in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Or could I find a seamstress that specializes in X? Different things that are much more elaborate, because now, especially with AI, it's very conversational. It's not just search, see the results, and go from there. You can just keep fine-tuning what you're looking for, and often AI will come back with questions of their own to help the person get more clarity on what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's really true. Because even when I think about what I'm searching for, and then when I get the results in my phone, like if I'm looking for Thai takeout near me, I'm gonna also look for with drunken noodles, or like I'm looking for like a Thai place that serves drunken noodles. And then when I think of my little phone screen as I'm searching for something, you know, the AI bubble pops up, and then it has this paragraph of local places, and this place has drunken noodles, or this place is known for its spicy Thai, or whatever. So thinking of the next time you look for something on Google, what does the search result look like? And use that in your website copy. And so with blogging, how popular or how efficient, I should say, is a blog now? I mean, I have blogs on both of my websites, and I'm hoping that they're doing the trick, but can you talk us through the benefits of investing time into a blog still in a world where like YouTube is the rage?
One of the blogging strategies that I think might have relevance is having directory blog posts that say, talk about, here are some of the top bridal stores in the area. So someone is in that stage is searching for bridal stores, and often that blog post, if it's handled the right way and you continually update it, it could rank better and better. You're writing that blog post as an authority on these bridal shops. As a seamstress that works on all of these different dresses, all of these different dress types, here are some of the bridal stores that really give great service and have great selection, and you become associated with that. And then the other thing also is that, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing, instead of always being the person, the business, that it has to be fed by someone else, that you actually could be responsible for bringing clients to that bridal store? That would be really good for the relationship, right?
That's a great idea. I have never thought of that. And there are a couple other vendors that brides book upstream from seamstresses, and that would be like wedding planners, venues, the bridal shops. I think are the big three.
Absolutely, wedding planners for sure, because part of the responsibility of a wedding planner that really cares, maybe alterations isn't considered part of like their budget or whatever, but it's an important aspect to the execution of perfection on the day of the wedding. If there's an article, blog post about top wedding planners and you get the attention of a wedding planner, or you actually reach out and say, hey, I did this blog post, I featured you as one of the top wedding planners. It's a much more of like a pull than a push, where you can have an organic introductory conversation instead of saying, hey, I'm a seamstress, I'm wondering if you could recommend me for alterations.
Yeah, that's great.
You become like a funnel of editorial about these different best of lists. In the wedding industry, typically, you're mostly seeing best of wedding venues. I mean, it's also the same thing. It could also be photographers. And again, also photographers, I mean, they kind of have a stake in this, because if the dress looks great on the bride, the pictures look better. The expressions are better, right? I mean, a happy bride in a dress that fits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not too tight and being uncomfortable and uptight. So there's sort of like a synergizing mentality. And this is like channeling in real time for me. I really don't work that much in this part of the wedding industry. What is the average cost of alterations?
Well, it depends on where you live around the country, I'd say, but like around here, probably like $9.50
Okay, well,
per ticket. Yeah.
that's a meaningful client acquisition.
Some alterations could be between like 600 and 700, but I think most fall between like 8 and 1,000. And then if you want customizations, it can be up to like 1,600.
Is there ever any incentivizing among vendors where if like a vendor does a referral or anything like that?
No, and I think the reason for that is a couple of different things. So I don't have an incentive program because I feel like I'm already booked out, and I think as seamstresses become rarer, we kind of have the upper hand.
I do want to go back to when you were talking about the FAQs. The whole idea is that in generating the ideology for the FAQs, there's definitely proactivity that could be incorporated. Like, for example, say you go into Google and you type in a question that you ask. You see like what comes up when you ask that question, who comes up when you ask that question. But there's also a section on the first page of Google called People Also Ask. So
Yeah.
that you grab other ideas, like the more questions and derivations of the same question that you have, being an answer to those questions, like answering those questions meaningfully on your website, is really helpful for content. AI likes content clustered in a certain way, and the Q&As are one of them, because it's very, very finite. There's a question, there's an answer.
I feel like what great homework for listeners could be is to ask Google a question as if you're looking for a wedding vendor, and go through it as if you are the client, and have that kind of be your North Star as you're reconfiguring the copy on your website, to think beyond just those keywords. Because I can guarantee that most of the listeners are still thinking about, okay, keywords, and not thinking about how AI has changed just the way that we search on Google and how websites could pop up as search results. So having that be our homework and seeing what the leading questions are for our particular niche.
There is one more thing about FAQs. The typical approach to FAQs is to have one page of FAQs. A way to get the attention of AI overviews is to do FAQs on each page, like a little panel of like 4 to 8 FAQs on each page that are relevant questions and answers correlated to the content on that page.
Oh, I love that idea.
That creates, it's almost like a review type of strategy to help AI better understand each page.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm thinking of both websites that I can do that with. I can do that with Secrets of Bridal Seamstress podcast, and then also my local Bridal Seamstress page. Because as you're talking about this, I'm seeing the questions that I would add in my FAQ section, and then I'm also seeing them appear in the AI Google search. Those would be the same questions that pop up of people also ask.
So the idea is that, again, the more granular that you get with your content and have all of these different pages where you're altering a dress, but you're making people feel, okay, I understand the pain points and needs of someone that's involved with that type of event. So I think that also is something to think about, talking about weight gain, weight loss, all of these different things that are relevant to challenges that can come up with alterations.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
How about a directory of fitness or weight loss people that could help
Oh, yes.
that to stay consistent once you get fitted? You can just keep expanding on it, and that's where if you have a robust website with all that content, that's going to be better than like an expanded 2 or 3 page brochure that I'm imagining that a lot of seamstresses have.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm really excited about adding some of these things to my own website, and I'm sure that some listeners are thinking of that too. Before we wrap up, if you could give listeners one tip that they could put into practice next week to boost the SEO without keywords, and you can just kind of narrow it down to one single tip, what would that be?
One tip that I would say is to be more proactive about getting reviews on your Google business profile. And if you haven't set up a Google business profile, do it today. Start the process today. It's free visibility, and it's a great review platform. Hopefully most of your members and people listening have one already. And also, if you're managing your own Google business profile, go into it and you'll see like a little circle that either is yellow or green. Green means that you did it completely, a complete profile. If it's yellow, dig deeper into all the fields that you may not think are important on your Google business profile, but are important to Google for them to make your circle green, because then they can rank it better. Also, to respond to reviews. And don't just say, thank you very much, it was great working with you. Talk about, well, I really love the sequence that you had in your dress. Please send me a photograph. Make it personal.
Yes, yeah. You know, what's funny is it took me a long time to get a Google page up because I was so afraid of bad reviews or like the crazies that come out of the woodwork. And knock on wood, I haven't had a negative review yet, but I know that can be so crippling. And when we have members that have experienced that, it can just like shock the system. So if you're listening and you're like, I don't have a Google page yet because I'm afraid, first of all, I've been there, so you have my sympathy. But just bite the bullet and do it. And the good reviews are going to vastly outnumber the negative reviews. And guess what? I know so many friends who have at least one negative review up there and it has not impacted their business. So don't let that be a fear.
It makes you look authentic.
Yeah.
If you have the negative review, you answer it with kindness and respect. You don't say, you know what, get a life. How dare you criticize my work?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Because clients are looking at that too. Like, how are you going to work through a difficult situation? You know?
That's right.
Thank you. I'm excited for listeners to dig in and just get some fresh perspective on how to, freshen up the website. I think sometimes we launch the website and we kind of forget about it, and it's nice to refresh and consider what's been evolving.
There's never been a more important time to do that than now.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I'm excited to get this info out. Thanks for your time. Okay, thanks, guys, and we will see you next week for our next episode.